Crisis on Infinite Earths begun this week with Supergirl's show debuting the mega event, setting into motion the most ambitious crossover the Arrowverse and, dare I say, comic book TV shows have ever and probably will ever do. Part 1 laid the groundwork for the series and sets the stakes very high as LaMonica Garrett's Monitor reappears as a red antimatter wave sweeps through the multiverse, claiming world after world and setting its sights on Earth 38, Supergirl's Earth. With time against them, the heroes must come together to help evacuate the Earth and save as many people as they can, but it might also cost one hero their life. So I was very excited for this crossover. The Arrow crossovers, ever since that first Flash and Green Arrow crossover, have been very fun, and this one was no different, but it exceeded my expectations in almost every way. The writers, actors, and everyone involved really stepped up their game on this, and really they should. This is Crisis on Infinite Earths, arguably the first big comic event, and it's not something you do half measures of. Now, the show isn't an exact recreation of the comics, since that would actually be logistically impossible to do, even for a movie, but so far the broad strokes are all in place, albeit some changes thanks to the key Arrowverse players, the obvious one being Stephen Amell's Green Arrow, who is scheduled to die through this event, and he does just that, but also knocks it out of the park this episode, especially in the quieter moments with Kat McNamara's Mia Smoke, his daughter. If you follow me on social media, you'll know I've not really been a fan of Arrow, at least the first couple of seasons of Arrow. I didn't really like what they were doing with the show, but the last final season of Arrow has been pretty fantastic, and I've enjoyed Stephen Amell's character a lot in that, especially since he seems to be a bit more solemn and a bit quieter than he used to be in previous seasons, and it's nice to see him actually have time with these characters and be with them and have these quieter moments. It's fantastic. As I said before, Oliver Queen actually dies in this episode, and his death at the end of the episode is actually quite out of left field, since I would have thought they would have maybe saved that for the episode just before they go on the month-long break, somewhere in the middle of the crossover, but it's done really well, and actually kind of similar to one of the Green Arrow's deaths in the original comic, where he is killed by a shadow demon. Although I am disappointed we didn't get the prime Oliver's death scene from the comic where he's trying to save the world with Superman from a bomb. But of course, never say never, that could still very much happen. As I said before, everyone is in top form this episode, and it's made even better thanks to Blake Neely's fantastic orchestral score, something that these shows actually don't do. They just do a lot of pre-made music with no orchestra or anything, so to actually get an orchestra to do this grand epic music, it just elevates everything and makes it a bit more epic. The hour is also filled with many cameos, from Robert Wuhl's Alexander Knox from Batman 89 to Burt Ward's Dick Grayson from the Batman 66 TV series. Even some of the Titans from the DC Universe app show up to get obliterated by the Antimatter Wave. All the cameos were just the right length, they were just that, they were just cameos as we see these different Earths get wiped out, and it gave a great scope to the stakes involved. Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1 was a really fantastic opener to the 5-part crossover, setting up the stakes as well as putting our characters on really interesting trajectories, not only just for the remaining 4 parts of the series, but also post-Crisis episodes in their respective shows. I'm going to give Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1 a 9 out of 10.